Hello, everyone. Today we are presenting the third discussion group, and well, we are the same: Ruth, Paola, Pepe, and Alejandra. In this case, we will discuss the readings. Do we practice what we teach and acknowledgement as a key to teacher learning? So I hope that you like the question that I have to discuss. And the first question is: do your experiences influence that way you teach? Who wants the first to answer the first question?
Me.
Okay,
Pepe.
Pepe, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, of course, when I started teaching, I never took some aspects into account, like learning styles or my learners' needs or the size of the class. None of these aspects. But then I just actually just follow the topics of the book and in the specific order. And after that, I didn't supervise my learners, something like that. But then I changed my perspective and based on trial and error. So of course, after experience, you you change your the way you teach.
Yeah, of course. I think that the experience is very important for the development of the teacher. The teacher development, the experience is very important. So yeah, it always changes. Even the doubts and the way and the perspective of the things always change with the experience. Somebody else wants to share?
Me. Yeah, about the experiences. I, I have experience with all ages of my students, and so for example, I prepare activities, and for one I knew or I discovered that the groups are different, and as Pepe said, so it depends also about the learning styles. So for example, in this semester I have two groups. One is very passive. They don't like stand up, they don't like speaking, but the other does. So it's like I have to see what works with one group and adapt it, or to make the activities for the other group. And yeah, I have the experience that all groups are not the same, and I have to adapt the way I teach, and the way I work with them, because it's not the same.
Well, that's interesting because, well, you are an experienced teacher. You have the experiences to know at the moment how to treat the different classes, the different kind of students. But I think that as a novice teacher, it's more difficult because maybe you only have the experiences with the students that are more quiet, are more participants, are more focused in the class. And when you have her at the first time another group that is different, I think it's more difficult. So yeah, that's interesting that you comment. So thank you so much. We are going to move on to the second question, and that is: did you learn more from your worst teachers or from your best? Ruth, do you want to share something this question?
Yeah, sure. I think we learn from both. From the worst teachers, all of the things that we don't want in our class. Like, for example, the teachers that expose you in front of the whole class and make you feel uncomfortable or insecure about your abilities are the things that you say, okay, no, I remember that experience and it was awful, and I don't want my classroom to become like one of those. And from the best teachers, I think we learn like, or we copy the things they do, and we try to do it in our classrooms. So I think we learn from both. Sometimes maybe you remember more the worst things than the best things, but I think both are very important as teachers for those reasons. Because the worst teach you what you don't want to do, and the best you can copy things from them. That they make you feel good, so you can make your students feel good too.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes in the worst you can find the best and could be very useful for as a teacher. Okay, thank you so much, Ruth. Somebody else wants to share your experience or opinions about what do
Yeah,
you think?
just to complete the Ruth's answer, I think yes, you can learn from both, and obviously from the worst, the things that you want to avoid, like to be, for example, very teacher-centered class, or the excessive homework, or to do a lot of exams. Um, some stuff can be counterproductive, and obviously from the best, to be very flexible, take into account the ideas of your students, and to have better results, I think.
Yeah, actually, yes. Well, because we take the best of the teachers that have the best at the moment that teach us. Like I want to be like you, and we take these good things and we apply it in our classes. But the worst thing that we found in these teachers is like, no, I don't want to do that, and we stop this action. And we are conscious that we don't need to do these things. So yeah, it's very important to know about the both parts. The worst and the best. Alex, do you want to share?
Yeah. Also, I think we learn from both, from the worst and the best teachers, as my colleague said. But for example, in personally, when I was learning English and French, and I was studying in Les, I remember like I used to like a lot the activities my English teachers used to apply to me in my classes, and I was like okay, so I like this activity. Maybe one day I will like apply it, or when I had the micro teaching in Les, so I used to, oh, I can do this activity that I did in third semester of English, or yeah. And for example, from the worst, for example, I remember I had a teacher for a French teacher, and she just used the book, and she was like, okay, let's do the exercise one, and that's it. Then the number two, then and I was like, okay, no, I don't want to use textbooks. So I think that's why I have an issue with using textbooks in my classes, because for me it's like, okay, no, esas actividades no.
Yeah, it's
And
more
yeah,
boring.
yeah, and I take from each teacher, even if he's good or bad for me, but I keep the things that I want to do in my class and the things that I don't want to do in my class.
Yeah, and that is important. For the
Yeah.
reason we don't need, we need to be very conscious about the worst things. I identify these things that I don't want to make in my class. So yeah, it's very important even. Okay, thank you. Let's move on with the third question that says, what style of learning is more important to you? Experimental learning or theoretical learning? It's a interesting one. Who wants to be the first to ask one?
Can I go?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I will say both. Because yeah. For example, as I mentioned before, I learned activities so that I used to do in my classes when I was learning a language. But I think it's necessary to have the theory, because you have to know, okay, I'm doing a board game, but what is the objective, or what should I practice in this, or why should why I am doing any kind of activity, and I have to know the theory. Like, okay, for example, many people thinks that you can learn English listening to music, but okay, yeah, in my classes I can use music, but it is not just like, I si no tengo nada que hacer, ahí les voy una canción. No, so maybe find a song with vocabulary, with a topic in past or present or future, or the topic that I'm teaching, and I think, yeah, you need both. Um, and experiential, well, so I apply what I learn in my classes, in my language classes, but then I use the theory, and it's like, okay, va, esta actividad, pero tiene este objetivo que vi en mis clases. So I think, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
For me, I think both.
actually are, but I think in my case, I am novice teachers. I am novice teacher, so I think that I am applying more the theoretical learning. Oh well, the theoretical teaching in this case, because at the moment that I need to make the activities or create new material for the students, it's like I don't know what kind of activities to give to them because I don't have these experiences to know it. So I take the theoretical part, and it's like, okay, I'm going to use this, but I'm going to change a little bit as my style. Like, okay, this is the theory says, but maybe if I change a little bit, it my style can be good for the students. Obviously, with always with the objective. So this is the thing that I do at the moment in my classes, or create material or activities, whatever, and it's useful for me. But I think the moment that I grow in my class and in my teacher, the experience it will be more useful for me. So yeah, and this in my case is more the theoretical part. So Ruth, do you want to share?
Yeah, I think that for me also both are very important. The theoretical because you need like the information, like to have something to begin with and apply in the real classroom. And the experiential learning is going to give you like even more because, for example, something that I notice is that theoretical learning helps me, for example, in the methods that I can use, what kind of activities, the learning styles, those kind of things. Or, for example, I remember when we learned about Vygotsky and the punishments and reinforcements. But the experiential learning helped me like to learn how really to apply the activities, how to deal with the students, how to help them understand better, because not all of the groups and not all of the students are the same. So it's very important that even though you have information, you need to know how to apply it. And that only comes when you have the experience in a real classroom. So because it doesn't matter that you have all of the information in the world, but you have never been in a real classroom.
Yeah.
So when you are already there, you can apply all of this and keep learning through experience.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes, in several cases, these activities show the things that we can apply in the real classroom. It's like I can do that because I can for for the necessities of the students, the learning styles, whatever the thing you can do it. So, and I think it's several cases. I don't know. It appeared in several cases in the activities in the books actually, and it's very difficult as a teacher because you say that only I have this material to apply it, so I don't know what to do now, and you need to, I don't know, create a new activities, and yes, sometimes it's complicated. Pepe, do you have something else to comment?
Yes, I think I agree. Both are important, and as you mentioned before, theoretical is important in the beginning because it gives you a very good structure sometimes maybe you feel lost when you start. So you need a structure, you need to reach a goal, an objective, and theoretical learning is important in that case. And maybe it is necessary at the beginning. And after that, I think experiential is fundamental because it gives you a broad idea about your learners' needs, and you can have a better approach to your students. And I think have a clear track about the development of them. So I think it's a combination of experiential and theoretical.
Yes, of course, it's a combination. And it's very important to have both at the moment we want to be a teacher. But this thing we don't know when we are novice and only follow the theoretical. We're like, yeah, I'm the best teacher now. And I know everything. But no, it's like that. Okay, thank you so much for your answers. Let's move on with the last questions. Last question, sorry, that says, according to the framework, if you remember of the reading, in what phase do you think you are? Who wants to share first? Do you know in what phase you found?
I don't know, between 2 and 3, maybe almost 3, because that's the country's higher level of competence.
Mhm.
And I realize some things that I do, and I'm trying, but I'm not succeeding in the classroom of trying new things to do, because for example, I notice that sometimes I look more to the students that I not that I like the most, but I know they participate the most. They know a little more English than the others. So now I'm trying like to be conscious of looking to the whole classroom, um, like all the time, or as
Mhm.
much as I can. And I'm still trying to discover more things that I do, to change them, because I think that sometimes I don't notice maybe that I talk too much, or that I don't let my students participate, or maybe that I make them afraid of I don't know, maybe the way that I act. And that's what I want to like know, what am I doing wrong, so I can be conscious about it and do a real change in the classroom.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. Because with the experiences that you have, you notice that you need to be more conscious for these little details. Because I think it's a little details, but you need to be conscious because they are very, very important to the teacher learning and every context even. Okay, thank you so much, Ruth. Pepe, do you want to share?
I think between 2 and 3 as well.
Okay.
And I think we need a phase 2.5 because it's talk about lower level and higher level, but not about an intermediate level competence. So I think yes, between 2 and 3, because
Okay.
I'm not fully aware about my competence.
Okay, but you are working. You are working on
Of course,
the
yes, I every day I work on that.
Okay, that's very important that you are conscious that you are
Yeah,
conscious
but
that
not
you
so.
know
But
are conscious. So that's okay because you know it and you are working. So you have it. Thank
it's
you so
pretty
much.
hard, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Pepe. And Alex, what is the phrase that you found?
I'm not well at first I was like 3 or 4 because I have well I know I have I'm more experienced teacher uh, because I have taught since like 9 years ago or and 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 I could consider like 3 maybe not 4 or I don't know. But I think three because yeah, I think I am more conscious about the way I teach or about my students, and I know that if there's something that I have to change, I do it. And yeah, I can reflect, if that's the way to say, about the way I teach and the way I work with my students and the way they learn. Yeah,
Okay,
the
you are
same.
in the same level that like Ruth. So I think you you understand the thing that you try to make conscious in your teaching. So yeah. Thank you so much. So let's move on with the last part of this discussion group, and it's the conclusion. So what we conclude, and that's a question for me, that we conclude that the experience and the theory part, the theoretical part, it's very important both because we are these the these two things at the same time. We are we will be very useful for us as a teachers. We are going to grow up with the teacher, and we are going to know what kind of treat make with our students, what kind of activities create, what how can we adapt the material even. So it's very important. There are these two concepts are a complement. So it's very important to note it as a teacher. Um, Another part is have experienced it as a teacher. This it's very important because this help us to teach to the students. We is if we are students as a language students, it would be very useful at the moment we want to be at English teachers or language teacher, whatever what are the language. So that's it. So that I think is the last part. I think I hope that you like this third discussion group, and that will be all for first. Thank you so much.